Ah, coffee still tastes kind of disgusting. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Okay, so I don't know. Is everything actually like working? I don't even know. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm gonna level you with you at this moment. I don't really want to do this podcast. If in a perfect world I could take this cup, I would go over there, lie in my bed, and watch YouTube into the wee hours of the night. But I'm not gonna do that. Even though I genuinely really want to. I feel like the way the lighting is, the way the setting is on the camera, I feel like I just look like sweaty and clammy and just generally tired and shit. Which I don't know why. I'm not exactly sure why I feel so tired and demotivated. I haven't really done much. I was playing football for about 5 minutes, but it wasn't exactly intense football, so I don't know. So, we have our coffee to try and hype me up a bit. Last night I drank some coffee and I got really hyped up and motivated for a little while, so hopefully that does its job now. We've got our notes, as we do. So, did I even say hello? I don't think I really said hello. I don't think I actually introduced the podcast. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the fourth podcast. Is this the fourth one? I think it is. I think it is the fourth one. I genuinely don't know if like I don't know. I'm not really happy with how it looks right now on the camera. I don't know why I'm pointing there. You're watching this, so it doesn't really make. Anyway, I'm not really happy with how it looks. But to be honest, I'm very demotivated at the moment to make a video. But I need to stop being a little bitch, and I just need to start making fucking videos because I'm going to talk about that in a little bit actually. Yeah, so what was I going to say? How I was leading. So yeah, welcome to podcast number 4. There was something else I was going to say as like the intro part. What was that? I don't think I remember. No. Okay. So actually, yeah, coffee. Very good for getting a bit sort of hyped up, well not hyped up, but just a bit more energized for videos. But in a room like this, where I've got all the windows open, I have shorts on. I'm sorry for showing you my legs, you didn't need to see that. But this room gets very hot when I'm doing, especially when I'm doing a podcast, but just doing a video in general. Sitting in a warm room for an hour, like whenever I stand up, my back hurts, my bum hurts, my bum's very, very sweaty. I'm sorry for letting you know that, but it genuinely is quite disgusting down there, and having coffee really doesn't help that, but this is the only thing that's going to keep me through. I'm not even sure this is going to last hours, to be honest. I don't know why, I'm just in that mood, I'm just in that can't be asked mood. Like, I've got like 3 days of school left until the summer, and trust me, it hasn't been an easy last few weeks of term. No, there's been tests and essays, and I've still got an essay to do, to be honest, and oh gosh, it's all just generally grim. So, was that my intro? Yeah, so maybe we should just move into the first topic. I don't know how long this one's gonna last, to be honest. I kinda wanna sit back, but then the mic's too far away. Can I like, oh shit, sorry. Can I like sit like, I just muted it. I don't know if how that works in videos. Can I sit like this? I don't know, I'm gonna have to, oh gosh. My stomach's starting to hurt now. This is grim. I need to stop whining, I need to get on with this fucking thing. Okay, just breathe. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just really demotivated to do this, but I need to do it. I need to stop being a little bitch, and I need to just do it. So, yeah, I'm a lot lower now. I don't know if I've, like, changed the thing about... Anyway, but this is a lot more comfy. I'm just going to be able to get through it a lot easier by doing this. I don't know if the audio's screwed now, but, you know, it's fine. It's a podcast. We chill on the podcast. So, it's been a little while. Like a week plus, in fact, and I feel like that's kind of becoming a habit on this channel. I'm going to put that down just so I'm not looking at it the whole time. I feel like I'm sitting like quite professionally now, don't I? I'm like, yes, welcome to the meeting. You know what? You're fired. I'm Alan Sugar. Get the fuck out. Anyway, maybe the coffee's starting to set in. No, it feels weird sitting back. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I need, I feel like a douche, to be honest. Look at me sitting there. Look like a fucking idiot. Anyway, I'm gonna sit like this anyway because it's comfortable. I don't know if is the audio gonna be fine like this? It's fine. Okay, I need to stop worrying. So, like I said, it's been a little while, and I feel like that's kind of becoming a theme on the channel. Not becoming a theme, it sort of is a theme. Since when I started this channel, to be honest, it's been pretty inconsistent, and me and Kazelix as well, we make jokes about it a lot, but it's something that I'm absolutely not proud of. You know, missing a week of YouTube, of making videos like loads, is like really freaking annoying, and I don't like it about myself. I don't like the procrastination and laziness about myself, but it's something that I'm really trying to nip in the bud, and I really want to get rid of, because like I said, I make jokes about it a lot, but honestly it's something that really pisses me off about myself, and something I wish I really want to change about myself, but it's it's not the easiest thing getting, like, you know, changing the habits of a lifetime, to be honest. You know, if, you know, like, we've talked about addiction a bit before, but it's not really addiction, it's just general laziness, and to be able to kick a habit like that, it's quite difficult. I'm sure everyone has habits that they can't really kick, or they're struggling to kick at least, so, yeah, maybe, I don't know, trying to relate, trying to make me and you feel, get a connection, even though, like, we are pretty much the same person. Well, we're not the same person, but there's really not that much difference between you and me. I just have a YouTube channel, a peasant status YouTube channel, but a YouTube channel nonetheless, one that I'm pretty happy with. But, so, what are we talking about? So, yeah, okay. Like I said, I struggle to breathe, because I'm talking through my mouth a lot. I think I breathe through my mouth a lot. I don't know if that makes me, maybe that makes me, like, lazy and dumb. Isn't it like a thing where dumb people, they breathe through their mouths more than their nose? I'm really chatty today. Maybe the coffee is working. I'm very chatty suddenly. This is weird. Maybe coffee actually does work. There you go, kids. Drink coffee. Don't drink coffee if you're too young, because coffee isn't, you know, it's not the healthiest drink in the world, but it's very good for videos. So, I need to get on with this. We've been talking for like 5 minutes already, just utter bollocks. So, it's been, like a week plus, I think. And the reason for that, I'm going to go on my channel and actually see when, like, it was the Rocket League video, but how long ago actually was it? Sort of a timeline for you of what was going down. I think I uploaded that Rocket League video on, like, Jesus Christ, that was ages ago. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That last Sunday or Monday or something. Hang on. Give me a moment. Oh, 17th of June, when was that? When was the 17th? I don't know, sometime the beginning of last week. And basically, because I'm really struggled to motivate myself to make another video, like, soon after I've made one video. So, like, if I record one video for one day, then sometimes I just leave it for a few days, which I really shouldn't do, but I just really struggle to get the motivation to keep doing it, even though I talk about how I have so much of a passion for YouTube, but yeah, I somehow struggle to do it. It's just the thought of just getting up and sitting in front of a camera sometimes is just a bit tiring, I guess. But even though now that I'm here, now that I'm talking, now that I've got my coffee, it's all pretty good. But I don't know, even though, you know, I am passionate about YouTube, it's still, I don't know, it's a bit of a weird thing how I still put off doing it. It's a bit of a weird thing. But, yeah, I'll always come back after like a week or a month or something like that. But yeah, so the Rocket League video was, last Monday, Sunday-ish, and so I came home on Tuesday, like, okay, I should record a video, and then I just kind of didn't. I just played Fallout and Rocket League, I think. I'm not laughing. That I shouldn't do that. I'm such a lazy cunt sometimes, I know, but I don't know. It's something I've really struggled to deal with myself. And then around about those few days, my dad had a really bad throat. I think he had like tonsillitis or something. I don't know if he actually had tonsillitis, but he had a really sore throat, like, you know, the whole white spot thing on his back of his throat. And I think I got a bit of that on Tuesday or Wednesday or something, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like want to speak loads and shout and make this worse, so I'll leave it for a day, maybe two, and hopefully this whole thing clear up, and we can get back on the video gram. I can explain what happened. So, Wednesday rolled around. I was like, okay, I could maybe make a video, but no, I still feel a bit ill, a bit shit, so I'll just leave it for a little bit. And then Thursday came, and I felt worse. I was actually off school. Actually, yeah, Thursday. It was like Thursday, yeah, that I felt Jesus Christ, this was ages ago, actually. It feels like this was a few days ago, which it was, but it's like almost a week ago. Time really freaking flies. It's kind of weird thinking about that. Anyway, on Thursday, I was actually off school. I was off school on Friday as well, because on Thursday, I was just not, like, genuinely, the sort of sore throat developed into sort of an all-round cold, so I was, like, sniffing, I was coughing, I still have a cough. I swear that, that's going to be so people, you're gonna be like, that's fake, but honestly, that was actually real. I'm still coughing a wee bit, like, I'm still coughing up mucus and stuff, which I know is gross, but, you know, that's what happens when you get ill. So I still have a little bit of a cough. I'm still coughing up some stuff, but I'm much better now, obviously. But last week, it was just grim. I was, like, genuinely, I spent the day at school, on Wednesday, and I was just feeling more and more tired, and, like, I wasn't getting on with my work. I was just too tired and depressed and ill. So I stayed off on Thursday. I was really shit then. I was just sort of lazing about. You know, when you're ill and you have a day off, you just do nothing. You just sit around feeling terrible. And I felt a lot better on Friday. I still stayed off school just because it was the last day of Friday. It's the last day of the week, obviously. And I had a little poo there because I thought the mic was still muted, but it actually wasn't. So this bloody pop filter, like, makes it look anyway. So yeah, I was off on Friday as well. I was feeling a lot better on Friday, but I was still pretty shit. And then I was still I still my throat, and I was still coughing a lot on Saturday. And I'm still coughing now, but I was still coughing a fair bit over the weekend. So over Saturday, I was like, okay, I don't want to have a video where I'm just coughing constantly. So I was like, I'll leave it till Sunday or Monday, and it's now Tuesday evening. This is bad. But that's one thing. So obviously I was ill for a lot of the last few days, and like that's part of the reason why this video is slightly delayed. Bloody flies. That's the problem with leaving the windows open. Wildlife comes in, like flies and spiders and like I don't know, bears and stuff. But yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, I was actually ill for a lot last week, and I'm still coughing now a little bit, to be honest. I need a bucket. Hang on. Oh gosh, my leg's stuck. I need to spit out that mucus. I'm sorry, this has been disgusting. I've shown you my leg. I've talked about mucus and coughing and sweaty arseholes and stuff. I'm really sorry, but so I'm genuinely still coughing a little bit. Have been at school as well. Coughing at school, that is. But this was something that I thought about. I think it was like yesterday or today or something, when I was like, when you like. For a little while there, I was kind of on a sort of roll with YouTube. I was uploading like every 3-4 days-ish, which is like not as good as I would like, but it's like as good as I think I'm gonna get for now, and it's something that it's like my goal right now is to upload like at least every few days, just to like, obviously I'm not, like I said, it's something I really struggle to do is YouTube consistently, but if I can keep videos going for like 3 or 4 days apart, then I'll be pretty happy, and I'll like try and improve on that later, but it's like a good target for me at the moment. And when you don't upload for a week, it's a weird thing. Like obviously, like in that situation, it was different because I was ill. But a lot of the time that'll happen, and it's like you put off making a video. Like Max, you'll know this. Like it's a weird thing. Despite the fact we love making videos and we're so passionate about it, at the same time, like just the thought of, I think it's the thought of working just because we're so fucking lazy. Like just the thought of getting up and sitting in front of a camera and having to sort of almost play up to a camera. Obviously, I'm like I don't act in front of the camera. I don't play a character. I'm not trying to be someone that I'm not. But it's like, you know, every YouTuber's like this. They sort of hype themselves up a bit. Hence the coffee. If you're really boring on a video, then people aren't going to watch your videos because, well, they might actually. You know, different kinds of YouTubers make different kinds of videos. But for the type of videos I make, there's quite a lot of reactionary stuff and a lot of that requires me talking and being some sort of having some sort of energy about me. So, like I said, So yeah, sometimes the thought of just sitting in front of a camera and trying to be active and energetic is a little bit of a daunting task. It's like, I just don't want to, just leave me alone. So you're like, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. After school, I'll be really hyped up. I'll get on with it. I'll do my like homework in the afternoon. I'll make a video in the evening. Never does that happen. You just put it off and you put it off. Then once you put it off for a couple of days, the demotivation starts to set in. This the thing I was thinking about. I think after like when you don't do YouTube for a week, like it kind of knocks your confidence a little bit, and it kind of demotivates you further just because you're like, oh, I haven't done it for a week and I really should, but because you're feeling bad about not having done it for a week, it kind of knocks your confidence and you just feel a bit more demotivated about it. Not that this is like a massive problem, you know, I should stop freaking whining about it, to be honest. It's not, I have nothing to whine about in my life really when you really think about it, but it's just something that it was vaguely interesting. I sort of looked at myself and I was like, why do I feel like, not scared isn't the right word. I wasn't scared to make a video, but like after a week of not doing YouTube, your confidence kind of gets knocked a bit. Like even though no one said like, oh, you're shit, oh, you shouldn't do videos, it's just like yourself. A lot, like I think a lot of self-judgment and self-critical stuff and things, your emotions, a lot of it's dictated by yourself and how you view yourself. And this is getting really deep. Basically, when you don't do YouTube for a week, it kind of knocks your confidence a wee bit and demotivates you further. And you just feel like you don't want to make the video, but you know, I'll always like come back to the video. It's not like a serious thing. I'll always come back to the video, eventually do it like after a week or something. But it's a bit of a weird thing how like just not doing it for a bit too long, you start to feel like you can't or something. It's a weird thing. I don't know. It's an incentive to keep up doing it consistently. Because when I was doing it consistently, obviously I wasn't doing it for that long. Like if we look here, like it was every. Like, okay, it was like 3 videos, if that. Like, it wasn't that good. But, you know, like, when it feels like in my, when it feels to me like I'm keeping up some sort of rhythm, like even like 2-3 videos, like, and they're not like a week apart or something, it feels like, I don't know, that sort of gives me some sort of confidence to keep going, keep rolling. Whereas when you just stop for a week for whatever reason, where it's demotivation or being ill or something like that, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of takes a bit of it out of you, and you sort of reset yourself. And it's something that I should really sort out myself, to be honest, because, you know, being on the roll or whatever, it's kind of helps you to have that confidence and be more energetic and more motivated. Like when I was like you feel more motivated when you made like one video and then you made the next video like pretty soon. It makes you feel good that you're on a roll, but then once you get out of the cycle, it's really hard getting back into the cycle, if you get what I mean. It's something that I feel like I've felt for like for the entire time I've had this channel, when I was making Destiny videos as well, but I only sort of just thought of how to put it into words just now. So yeah, that's why I wasn't for a big part of the last week while I wasn't uploading, because I was actually ill, and I don't want to be that guy where it's like, oh, I'm so I'm ill, I can't make a video. I don't want to be that guy, but genuinely it wouldn't have been good, like especially on Thursday and Friday. I was just sitting about. I did nothing. I was just watching YouTube videos, which is what I usually do, but it wouldn't have been good. And over the weekend I was coughing a lot, but like I said, a lot of it was the whole demotivation, getting back into the rhythm. That's kind of the hardest bit when it comes to YouTube, for me at least. Oh, my coffee's gone cold. I hate that. Cold coffee and cold tea is like the worst tasting things in the world. I don't know how people can actually drink it, like tea and coffee, once it's gone cold. Like, it just makes me feel sick. This is starting to go cold, so I'm trying to like drink it now just to get all the caffeine in my system. So yeah, that's disgusting. So, something that's happened actually today, just like a few hours ago. I came home from school, and I've got this message from Max Kazelix. You don't know Max. Why am I using my middle finger? I'm sorry, that was I shouldn't have done that. That's very rude. But yeah, I got a message from Max, the mighty Kazelix, and he says, I'm not going to check right now, but he said something like, dude, look at your subs. And I checked it like a day or two ago, and I was like, oh, it's 170 subs. I was like, okay, that's freaking sick. We're like closer, well, we're not closer to 200 than 150, but you know, we're getting there. It's moving along at a good pace. And I come up, I see this message from Max, and it's, I go on the channel, of course, and it says it's gone down to 163. I go into like the live sub count, and I'm like, okay, it was 170, and today it's just gone down to 160. I was like, okay, do people hate me? Oh, pardon me. Do people hate me now? Have I like done something to offend you? Is not uploading for a week just made 7 people angry? But yeah, it'd gone from 170 to 163 in like a day, the sub count on my channel, and the exact same had happened for Max. He was at 170 and he'd gone down to 163, I think. I don't know if that's exactly right, but I think that's what I remember from the Skype chat that we had like a few hours ago. You know, that's terrible memory. But yeah, so I was like, what the fuck? Why have I lost 7 subs? Like, okay, that's all right then. And then I found out Max had done it, and then we went on to some other channels, so, and yeah, we went on some other channels, and apparently this happened like across YouTube. It's called a YouTube purge or something, according to Max. Some guy on Twitter told Max that it's called a YouTube purge. Basically, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to cough into the mic. This it's way too hot in here. This probably isn't good for me. I'm getting all clammy now. Oh gosh. Such a mess. I'm sorry, but it's the podcast. It's fine. We can all be ugly on the podcast. A nice, cool, refreshing drink of cold coffee. Ugh. Okay, so apparently a YouTube purge has happened. And this happened, a YouTube purge. P-U-R-G-E. I'm not sure why. I don't know if that's the official term. That's what Max told me. I don't know. But basically, what a YouTube purge is, this has happened a few times like over the years on YouTube. If you see that fly just flew past the screen there. But yeah, what it is basically, like, loads of channels across YouTube have just lost subs. Like, no one knows why. Like, if I think because this has happened, go and like check who you're subscribed to, and if you notice that there's someone who might not be there, like check, like don't obviously go searching for every single channel, because like I looked through my subs, who I'm subscribed to, and nothing looked different, nothing looked out of place, but obviously there's a lot of channels I'm subbed to, so I might like miss someone, but just like have a look and see if you're not subbed to your favorite YouTuber anymore, then like go sub back to him or her, and because like it's not just like a glitch, like people have genuinely been unsubscribed, like some people have literally had to subscribe back to people, and no one really knows what's happened, why it happens. Like YouTube just kind of fucks up and just unsubscribes people. I don't know what happened. So me and Max lost about 7 subs, which and then a guy called Capgun Tom, he's a FIFA YouTuber, he's a bit of a prick to be honest, I don't like him, but he makes good videos, so I still watch him like a mug. He had, I was checking because he's really close to 1 million subscribers. He was at 995,000 like yesterday. Then I went back on his channel on the live sub count today, and he was down to 982,000. So he'd gone down like oh my gosh, my maths, 13,000 in like that time period. Happened to AJ3 as well. He was quite close to another FIFA YouTuber, quite close to 1 million subscribers. He got put down too. So they lost, like, obviously me and Max lost 7 subscribers, so that's like, and then those guys who were closer to 1 million lost about 10,000-15,000, which, like, so obviously it scales in proportion. And then, of course, PewDiePie, he actually lost subs as well. He lost 500,000, which, you know, you'd think, obviously, that's massive. I genuinely never expect that I'll have a channel which gets to 500,000 subscribers. Like, I just never think that's humanly possible. But, like, when it's PewDiePie, you know, he's not gonna miss them, is he? You know, it's PewDiePie. Like, he's got 40-odd million subscribers. I don't think, you know, 500,000 isn't... He'll get them back fairly quickly, I'm pretty sure. You know, he doesn't need to worry about that. But, yeah. I mean, 7 subscribers for me, Max, even though, like it is kind of a lot, but, like, it's, you know, you can't really dwell on it. It's, like, it's happened to, like, most, like, a lot of YouTubers, so it doesn't really matter. Well, it doesn't matter, but, like, it's just, like, you know, no need to fucking whine about it too much, to be honest. But it hasn't happened to a lot of other YouTubers, like Ali, he hasn't gone down at all, so, I don't know, conspiracy theory, maybe? I'd probably not, I don't know. But basically, a YouTube purge happened where loads of YouTubers lose subscribers for some reason, I don't know why. I don't know, like, I should maybe have looked into it a bit more before I started talking about it on the podcast, but yeah, I don't really know what it is, I don't think anyone really knows what's happened. YouTube's just glitched or fucked up, I don't know, it's basically a weird thing. Basically, we are down 7 subs, which is, you know, obviously it's bad, but it's like, you know, not the end of the world, is it? You know, like, those 7 subs, like, how many of them probably watched those videos? Probably not that many. Like, obviously, like, like I said, like, when you got a channel this size, like, every single sub, like, if you got 165 subs, then you go up to 166 subs, you will notice that one person hitting subscribe. So it's like, really, every person counts on a channel this size. But, like, you know, no use complaining about it when, like, YouTube, especially, like, if it was just me, like, if I had gone down from 170 to 163, and, like, no one else had, like, there wasn't a YouTube purge, it was just that people didn't like me, then that's a bit shit, that's a bit, you know, demotivating and crap. But the fact that happened to, like, loads of YouTubers, it's just YouTube fucking up, it must be, I don't know what it is, I mean, no one knows what it is, but, like, you know, I guess it's something that we'll just have to deal with, like, you know, like, it's not, like, the end of the world, it's just a bit of a weird thing, a bit annoying, to be honest, but, that's that, I think. So, yeah, we're down a few subs, which sucks, but, you know, it's not the end of the bloody world, it's not. But I'll tell you what is the end of the world, except in this country: Brexit, the EU referendum. I shouldn't have said that. I'm gonna get into political debate. I don't know if I really want to talk about this. I want to make this podcast vaguely long, but I don't know how long it's gonna be, because I just feel so tired and so can't be asked mood-ish. But, so we finished that. I'm going to take off these notes, because I don't want to get confused. I get very confused, of course. We all know this. But yes, so, something that happened this week. The EU referendum, where the people of this mighty nation, Great Britain, it's not really that mighty, but it's, you know, it's alright. We voted, well, I say we, people over the age of 18 voted for whether or not they wanted Britain to stay within, or the United Kingdom to stay within the European Union. I'm sure you've heard about this. I don't know why I'm explaining it to you. I'm pretty sure everyone knows about this. And yeah, so I don't really want to get into this, because I like to think that I'm well educated on this stuff and that I could have a debate about it and that I could talk about it on a podcast, but I really can't. I don't really have that many facts at my disposal. Maybe I could, like, actually, no, I'm not even gonna try and find some sort of, like, thing that I could, like, website that I could use to sort of help my argument. But basically, the people of Britain have voted to leave the European Union, which it's up for debate whether it should have been put to a vote from the people in the first place. Like, to be honest, I don't. Most people probably didn't know what they were voting for. In fact, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have known exactly what I was voting for because, like, you know, I don't know. I don't even know, man. Like, it's hard to put into words. I did have a bit of a Twitter rant about it, but that was sort of a heat of the moment thing. But now that I've had some time to dwell on it, obviously we're not. The UK is not the EU yet. It's gonna take, I think it's like 2 years or something for it to all finalise and for everything to sort out. But some of the short-term effects. The pound has gone to shit. The British pound, which is like I think one of the most valuable currencies. I say the most valuable. It's like compared to like the dollar. It's like before this whole thing happened, the £1 equaled like $1.60, 50, 60, 70 cents, something like that. Something in that similar to the EU as well. No, the euro. Sorry. Basically, the pound was £1 was worth like one and a bit of like currencies like that, and for the first time in like ever. Well, it's not ever, but it's like 50 years or something like that. I don't know. That's very rough. A lot of the stuff I'm gonna say, please don't get pissed off at me because I don't have the facts exactly right. So please don't destroy me in the comments if I get stuff wrong. But basically, the pound hasn't been this shit in a long time. I think the £1 is worth like $1.2 or something. It's gone to shit. Basically, the pound isn't worth shit anymore. It's still worth shit, but it's not worth nearly as much as it was, and that's just because of the sudden change in like the stocks market and stuff. It's a lot of complicated stuff which I don't understand. I've never hoped to understand, to be honest. But basically, the pound has gone to shit. It's worth a lot less than it was beforehand for some reason. But the big thing about this whole EU referendum was, you know, like I said, I personally think, I'm not sure whether it should have been put to the people, to be honest. Like I said, I feel like most people didn't know what they were voting for, to be honest. But two of the big things were who voted and who voted on what. So it was, hang on, I have a picture on my phone actually. Hang on. I put this on Twitter as well. Like I said, I had a bit of a Twitter rant about it, but you're not gonna be able to. Can you see this? Oh gosh, can you see this? Can you see? No, that's not gonna work. No, it's not gonna work. Okay. Calm down. Light. God's sake. Oh god, the lighting's screwed now. I shouldn't have tried that. Hang on. Let's see if we can sort this. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. Okay. Sorry about that. Oh, Jesus Christ, gone off the freaking thing. But yeah, so the whole thing about the age group thing is that the younger generation predominantly voted to remain in the EU, and people like older people 65 and up. Is it raining? God damn, I don't want to shut the windows, but it's raining, so I might have to. But basically, older people voted to leave, and younger people voted to remain in the EU. And am I going to? Well, okay, I'll speak about that other thing in a minute. Basically, younger people wanted to remain, and older people wanted to leave. It was like, that's very rough. That's a very rough statistic. But the majority of 18 to 24-year-olds, and actually everyone under like 50, to be honest, wanted to stay. Yeah, vaguely. Basically, young people wanted to stay, older people wanted to leave. And the whole thing with that is, obviously, if people are older, everyone's saying, like, a lot of older people have voted. A lot of people said because they're racist and they're bigots and they just want to, because they think Britain will be better independent because they're all racist, which is obviously not true. Not every single person is racist and a bigot. That's just looking at it very narrowly. Narrowly, is that a word? I don't know. But yeah, the big thing was a lot of people were saying, oh, old people are just... I say old people. I'm using it as a very generic term, so don't take it too literally. But older people have voted this to leave because they want to protect their pension benefits. And basically, younger people are a bit pissed off because a lot of the older people, they're saying they don't have to live with the consequences of this as long. Like, obviously, if you're 70 years old, then you're not... Obviously, you're probably going to live less than people who, older people won't have to live as long with the consequences of voting to leave the EU as younger people will. And a lot of the young people are pissed off because the majority of younger people voted to remain so that they could keep, because the EU provides a lot of benefits for Britain, as much as, I'm going to try and not get I will get my opinion in on it, but you can't deny it's, a fact that the EU provides a lot of benefits and cons, of course, that provide pros and cons. But some of the benefits are like not free travel, but much easy travel between European countries. Like working in another country is a lot easier. Like, going on holidays is so much cheaper. And it's just like a lot of the travel thing. A lot of the younger people are like, we're not going to have the opportunities that some of the older generations had. Because the UK went into the EU in like the 70s, I think. A whole like generation, like almost two generations, I guess, has had the opportunity to live in other European countries, work in other European countries, go on holiday there a lot easier. And now that the older generation have voted to leave, basically a lot of young people are feeling like they've been slapped in the face, because the older people had all these benefits from the EU, like easy travel and cheaper travel throughout Europe to live and work and meet new people and all this stuff, and they've sort of taken that away from them just so that they can have an easier end to their lives, which I feel like I'm being very general here, please take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. Not everyone feels this way. A lot of younger people vote to leave, of course, but this is the general consensus, and this is some of the reasons why a lot of younger people are pissed off that they won't reap the benefits that some of the older generations have gotten from being in the European Union. And yeah. So, and obviously, the thing about it is, to be honest, I was a Remain person myself, even though I didn't get to vote because I am 15, which a lot of people were actually quite pissed off about, because a lot of people thought, since that, it's my generation and like it's older generations to an extent, but it's specifically my generation, my kids, my grandkids, who may have to, really live with the consequences of this, more so than the like people over 65, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to be on the planet longer than someone who's 65. That would make sense, assuming I don't stand in front of a car like a plonker. But that's basically why a lot of young people are pissed off. And I was a Remain person because I feel like a lot of people don't. Literally everything is affected. I think a lot of people don't understand how many things are influenced by the EU in our country, good and bad things. I don't know half of it as well, to be honest, but like the food packaging, like the packets on your food that show you the calories and the fat and the allergy stuff and the ingredients and all that stuff, that's all controlled like by the EU. That's EU regulations, all done in like Brussels or whatever. Brussels being where the EU is based, not like Brussels sprouts. That would be silly. I'm sorry, I'm being so condescending. I'm speaking to you like you're a retard, but I'm sure you're not. You're probably more educated than me on this subject, to be honest. But I'm like football, like apparently football transfers to the Premier League in other European countries is going to be a lot harder now. Just like working in other countries, like especially for like students who want to study in other countries, and people who want to work and have holidays and like loads of stuff. Like I'm not even like, there's so much like literally stuff you wouldn't think that would be affected by the EU, like filming, like Game of Thrones, next season of Game of Thrones. Obviously these are like football and Game of Thrones, they don't really matter as much as like people working and living, and meeting new people. Like people meet their husbands and wives, and that's how families and relationships are born, and entire lives are built around someone being able to go to another country and study and work and doing all this stuff. It's mad to think that, like, think about it that way. Like I said, Game of Thrones are going to have a bit more problem because they do a lot of filming in parts of Europe. Probably a lot of British productions probably have problems. Will have problems filming in Europe and stuff like that because of because we're not part of the EU anymore, and there's not going to be as easy travel stuff. It's going to be a lot more like I guess traveling with between the UK and my mind was blanking there for a minute. UK and like the US, or like a non-EU country, like security, and like between like going on holidays to Spain, the security is not nearly as much as like going on holiday to America from the UK. That's obviously for like other reasons which we're not going to talk about. Obviously American security, airport security is quite strict, but we're not going to get into that. That's a whole another debate. Well, it's not really a debate, but anyway, but yeah, there's just so many things. Like you go online and there's just like endless things that like the EU affects on, and that was my whole thing. It's like a lot of people don't understand how much is affected, and the fact that we've been in the EU, like we haven't been in the EU for 5-10 years. Been in the EU since 1973, I think it was. We've been in the EU for so long. We've built like our whole country, like it doesn't depend on it, but we like our country's built around being in the EU. We've sort of not, like, obviously not everything depends on it. It's hard to get into words. Obviously we have a few years to like sort everything out. If we are going to leave the EU, because like I said, we're not actually technically left the EU yet. We've just voted to leave at some point in the near future. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing. Like, it's not going to be easy. Like, our whole country has been a part of the EU for 40, 50 odd, 40, something like that, something odd years. And like, leaving isn't just going to be that easy, and everything's going to change. And like I said, the pound's already gone to shit. And that's my whole thing, is like, I hope, and oh gosh, that's another thing, the government, who's going to take over? David Cameron resigns, because obviously he was fully for Britain staying in the EU, and when it was obviously voted to leave the EU, he resigned as Prime Minister. He was like, nah, fuck this, I'm out, I don't want to have to deal with this bullshit, so I'm leaving. Which, fair play to the guy. Like, people love to hate on David Cameron, so do I, and he is a bit of a plonker, to be honest, but when you think about, you've got David Cameron, and who are the candidates now for being the Prime Minister for the next couple of years? Got Nigel Farage, Boris Johnson, or as I like to call him, Bojo, George Osborne, Jeremy Corbyn, and a couple other random people that I don't care about. But think about that. Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, Nigel Farage as Prime Minister, George, can you imagine? Like, I don't like David Cameron, no one likes David Cameron, but he's better than these three. Like, can you imagine Bojo as Prime Minister? Can you imagine him and Trump as the leaders of the free world? The whole world would go to shit. It would be so horrific. I hope, surely the Conservative Party can't allow Bojo to become Prime Minister. That'd just be so horrible. And Nigel Farage, I genuinely hate the guy now. Did you see him on this morning, the chat show? He literally, I'm getting very passionate now, but he literally, one of his big things was like, oh, if we leave the EU, we'll get, we spend like £300 billion on the EU every year, which that's money which, if I get in power and we leave the EU, we'll put to the NHS. And he put that on, like, the Leave campaignists put that on buildings and buses and shit, and I was like, that was one of the big things, like, if you will get control of that 300 billion and that we could put that to, like, the NHS or something. We were like, and I think a lot of people voted for that because of that. And then on the day after, one of the two, I thought someone was listening to me. I'm getting very passionate. But the day after the day after that the vote went through and everyone was like, okay, we'll leave the EU. Nigel Farage goes on freaking this morning, the chat show, and the woman asks him, okay, so how about that £300 billion? Can you confirm that 300 billion pounds that we spend every year we put towards the EU? Can you confirm that will go to the NHS? He says, oh no, I can't confirm that will happen. I would have never put that across. And everyone was like, you fucking dick, you. Oh gosh, it pissed me off so much. He said the Leavers promised, it was on the side of a bus, for God's sake, that money could go to the NHS. He said, oh, well, I never actually specifically confirmed that it would go to the NHS. It'll instead go to my paycheck to pay for my yacht and my fancy house in the middle of Essex. It's, oh, God, pissed me off so much. Because that's a big reason why I think a lot of people voted Leave, is so that we can stop spending money on the EU and instead spend it on the National Health Service, education, infrastructure, stuff like that. But no, Nigel Farage is like, well, he says for the whole campaign, oh yes, we'll spend it on the NHS, yes, it'll be fantastic, yeah. And then as soon as the vote goes through, he's like, well, I never actually confirmed it, stupid UKIP tosser. I'm sorry, I may have offended someone. If you voted Leave, that's fine. I'm sure you had your own motives. I'm sure you're a very level-headed person. But Nigel Farage, man, I never liked him just because UKIP, they're a bit mental, to be honest. Did you see that episode of Russell Howard, actually? One of the biggest funders of the UKIP. Like, the UKIP party have apparently said they're meant to be the party of the people. That's like one of their things that they always say. And then one of the main investors for the UKIP party, he one of the things, like one of the big political problems he thinks is an issue. It's like one of the problems with the world, not climate change, not nuclear weapons or anything like that. He believes that women shouldn't be allowed to wear trousers. He believes that this is one of the biggest problems facing us in the modern day, in the 21st century, that women are wearing trousers far too much because for all of human history, women weren't allowed to wear trousers. They would have been executed if they didn't wear skirts. And for like until 300 years ago or something, when women started wearing trousers, women would have been executed before that. And he says it may lead to the end of the human race. Women wearing trousers could lead to the end of the human race because it will make men not want to have sex with them. This is the party we're dealing with. This is obviously that doesn't represent all of UK, but that was a funny Russell Howard episode. Anyway, that was a tangent. That was a mad tangent. This coffee I think has helped. I've just been going on the same breath. But yeah, so fuck Nigel Farage. Hopefully he doesn't get in his prime minister. Like, oh gosh, it annoyed me so much, that whole thing. But yeah, so I don't know. One of my big things about this whole thing, I said I wasn't going to get into a political debate, and I'm sorry, a lot of my facts take with a pinch of salt. I'm not fully educated on this matter. I'm just speaking from what I've seen and my opinions and my personal biases, so don't get all annoyed about it, please. One of my main things was... What was that? What was one of my main things? I hope that whoever gets put into government, because obviously Cameron's resigned, someone else can have to take over until the next general election. I hope they don't make loads of stupid short-term decisions to try and make everything look better, to try and paper over the cracks for like a short-term thing, just to like keep the media happy and keep everyone happy, make them look good in the media. I hope they make good long-term decisions, because I feel like the media affects politics too much. Like, think about it in the last few years. We've had a Scottish referendum, we've had a general election, we've had pardon me. Oh my god, pardon me, I'm such a slob. We've had an EU referendum. It looks like we might have another Scottish independence referendum because of this. Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Republic of Ireland might unite again. Like, this is all happening in such a small time span. Like, in the past few years alone, this is like all this changes is happening. It's like, I feel like the media, like, this is when in human history stuff, like when I'm learning about stuff in history, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to like clip something together. I don't know what I'm doing. Like when I'm in history and stuff, like stuff in history, like it takes like many years, like sometimes decades for different stuff to happen, and a lot of the time it does take like decades and stuff, but I swear nowadays everything happens in like shorter time spans. I feel like the media might have a bit of a thing to do with that, like trying to the government, people in power feel like more pressure to push for short-term decisions to try and stay in office and to try and make themselves look better in the media so that they can stay in power longer, which I think is just so terrible, because making short-term decisions which benefit us in the long term but are going to fuck us up in the long term is not what we need to be doing right now. If we're going to leave the EU, then we need to make good decisions that are going to, make sure Britain is fine and safe and strong in the long run. And it's actually predicted that Britain will go into a recession by 2017 if things go a certain way, which we don't need. We've had a recession already in the past few years. We don't need another one. And oh gosh, it's all. I'm quite worried. I hope that people make good decisions. I hope things go well. But there's one thing that makes this a lot more interesting for me. There was the whole thing about Ireland, how Northern Ireland, obviously if you don't know about that whole thing, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland are different, because Northern Ireland is part of the UK, Republic of Ireland is its own thing, and they were talking about how because Northern Ireland, I think Northern Ireland was a majority to stay in the EU. There's talk of like Ireland being united again, which is crazy to think. Like, Ireland and Northern Ireland have been different for 100 years-ish, and the fact that they could, I don't know if that'll actually happen, to be perfectly honest, but if it does, that'll be mad, just because that Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland have been different for 100 years plus, and something that happens in our lifetimes could change that. It's mad to think, really, dude. But so like I said, so one thing that's quite interesting specifically for me, obviously UK, there's England, there's Scotland, there's Wales, and there's Northern Ireland. So England was a majority of leave the EU. I think so was Wales, but I think Scotland and Northern Ireland were both majorities to remain in the EU, which, like, like obviously there's different like constituencies I think in across Britain. And the majority of people in Scotland specifically voted to remain in the EU. I think it was like 62% or something like that. In people in Scotland wanted to remain. Obviously, I am Scottish, so yeah, that's and I think where was I going with that? So yeah, England and Wales, as in like we're still the same country, but in terms of like the different parts of the country, all the people in England, like the constituencies, the majority was Leave. In Wales, the majority was Leave. Scotland and Northern Ireland, I think it was both Remain. And I think a lot of people, specifically in Scotland, obviously people in England and Scotland, despite the fact we're the same country, a lot of people don't like each other. Like, you know, throughout the whole Euros, Scottish people have been hoping for England to get knocked out, which they have. They got knocked out by Iceland, which was very embarrassing for them, which I was happy about. But obviously Scotland didn't even get into the Euros. We didn't even qualify, so we really shouldn't be saying anything. But anyway, a lot of people, like Scottish people and Northern Irish people, are like, why the hell should we leave the EU? We want to stay. And England were like, well, you could just do what you fucking say, you know, you guys up north, you can just shut the fuck up, you go along with what you say. Not exactly, that's very politically incorrect of me, I shouldn't be saying that, I'm completely biased, I know, but, it's, so Nicola Sturgeon, who's the First Minister of Scotland, if you don't know how UK politics work, it's kind of weird. Like, England, there's like a UK government, which is like David Cameron, like people down in London, who sort of the whole UK and England, of course. And then in Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland, we do have our own parliament, but we're still like under the UK government, if you get what I mean. So there's Conservative Party and Labour Party in England and other parties. There's still Labour and Conservatives and Scottish National parties in Scotland, but they're not like, they're a lower tier. It's a weird thing. Basically, Nicola Sturgeon, who is the First Minister of Scotland, so she's like the Prime Minister of Scotland, even though she's not the Prime Minister of the whole country because David Cameron is or was. It's a weird thing. Basically, Nicola Sturgeon, who is the First Minister of Scotland, she came out and made a statement, and basically she was saying that any EU citizens who are living in Scotland are still welcome in Scotland, and basically she was saying because Scotland voted for a majority, we're staying in Scotland. Like, but she basically is telling England to fuck off because she was like, Scotland is an EU country, Scotland will remain an EU country, and if that means that we have to have another referendum for Scottish independence, then so be it. And I think there was an MP, I think in the House of Commons or something like that, who said similar things. He was like, said similar things that if, you know, obviously Scotland voted for Remain, but if England all voted for Leave, then Scotland obviously wants to stay in the EU, so if England are going to leave, then Scotland are like, well, fuck you guys, we're staying in. Like, fuck off. Like, we'll have another referendum, we'll get independence. And, like, I don't know, man. Like, 2 years ago in 2014, obviously there was the Scottish referendum where we voted whether or not Scotland wanted to stay in the UK or not. I didn't get to vote in that either, because I'm apparently too young. According to professionals, I'm too young to vote. Apparently, you know, these decisions won't affect me, of course, because I'm, you know, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. But basically, yeah, we had a referendum whether or not we want to stay in the UK a few years ago, and we voted Remain, which I was quite happy about. I thought that was the right decision. But one of the things that was part of it was that we were like, okay, we'll stay in the UK. We voted to stay, but we don't want things to change a lot. We don't want to leave the EU or anything like that. We want to have access, because obviously another thing with the EU, there's not access to the open trade market or something like that, where trading between European countries is easier. There's that whole thing. And Scotland was like, we want to still be a part of that, so we want to stay part of that. England was like, yeah, cool, bro, that's cool. I'm looking up because Scotland's like north, so it makes sense to look at England. Like David Cameron's down Westminster, like, yeah, bro, it's cool, we got you. And now we voted to England have gone with the majority. Obviously, there's loads of people in England who want to stay, I know, but the majority, just English people, want to leave. And now Scotland's like, well, no, this wasn't part of the deal. Now we want to stay in the EU, and we're going to stay in the EU. England are like, nah, yeah, you can just follow us. And we're like, nah, fuck off. We'll fucking stay in the EU. We'll have a referendum. And like I said last time, with the last Scottish referendum, I was like, I really wanted to stay in Britain. I thought staying part of the UK was the best choice, the better together thing. And once again, this time around, I was like, better together, stay in the EU. And apparently Britain, the majority of British people have voted to leave, but the majority of Scottish people specifically voted to remain. And I'm not sure if, and obviously there's talk of if, obviously it's not 100% confirmed, there could be like a second EU referendum across the whole of Britain, which, I don't know, it's fucking crazy to be honest. I've been ranting so much, I'm sorry. You've just heard me rant and get all my thoughts about this EU thing. Hopefully it's interesting though. I hope it's interesting to you. Like, maybe we can have a chat in the comments about it if you're interested in that kind of thing. But yeah, so if England and Wales and, well, just the UK in general, the UK government continue, like, okay, yeah, we're gonna leave the EU, fuck it, we're gonna start speaking with the European Union on like how it's all gonna work, how we're still gonna be able to trade and travel and stuff like that. We're gonna have chats over the next few years to sort everything out. But I'm pretty sure the Scottish government are like, okay, if you're definitely gonna leave the EU, then Scotland's out. I've tried to speak Scottish there. I sound Scottish speaking to like other people, but just not on video. I don't know. Anyway, basically, Scotland could have another referendum to leave the UK so that Scotland can remain part of the EU, and then England can instead, and Wales, I guess, and however, I'm not making sense, I know right now. Basically, because the UK hasn't officially left yet, we're still part of the EU for now. Scotland, the Scottish government's like, okay, if you're really going to leave the EU, England and Wales and UK, to the people down in Westminster, then they're like, okay, if you're really going to do this, then we're going to have a referendum before you do it, so that we can leave you, we can stay part of the EU, then you can go off and do your own thing. Which, obviously, like I said, last time in 2014, I was very much stay in Britain, but this time, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, English people. What? English pensioners. That's who's voted to leave. Why would you do this? You've left me, even though I might get to vote now, actually. Like, if Scotland have a referendum by the time I'm 16. Yeah, actually, yeah, I'll probably get to vote in it if Scotland. Oh, gosh, now I actually have to make a decision. Shit. But yeah. Like I said, last time I was very much Scotland stay with the UK, but now, I don't know, man. Like, the UK could be fine on its own if we, like, make good long-term decisions, and we still, obviously, we can still trade with Europe and stuff like that. It just won't be as easy and, like, a lot more expensive, and there's a lot of stuff to sort out, and I don't know, man, it's going to take a long while. There's going to be a lot of years of shit to get through to get to that point, and like I said, there could be a recession during that, which would not be good. But at the same time, Scotland going independent, obviously if England leave the EU, then it might be a good decision because we want to keep Scotland in the free trade market. But at the same time, is leaving the UK, because if Scotland leave the UK, then we're probably going to we're going to have to switch to euros. We're not going to be able to stay with pounds, are we? So we're going to have to use euros in this damn country. Which, I don't want to use euros. I don't want to, no one wants to use euros. There's a reason Britain chose to not use euros, because it's shit. The euro is shit. That's a bad idea. I'm sorry, but it is. It's a good idea, but it's not very well executed. Look at Greece and look at Spain. Failing economies, which affects everyone else. But yeah, Scotland left UK to stay part of the EU. We'd have to go with the euro, wouldn't we? And obviously, people go on like, obviously, it's crazy though, like Scotland leaving the UK, because the UK has been a thing for hundreds of years. I don't know, it's a crazy thing that in my lifetime, Scotland will probably be, the UK probably won't exist at some point in my lifetime. In the next few years, maybe. It's really think about that. Like, think of how much Britain and the UK is. Oh god, I'm sorry, I'm still a bit ill. My sinuses, I think, is getting blocked up. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. But think of how historic Britain is. Like, Britain used to be a massive empire, and like the whole World Wars thing, and like, oh, we beat Germany or whatever. Like, obviously that's all, Germany isn't an enemy of like anyone anymore. But you know what I mean? It's like, would we be better on our own? Well, obviously in the EU, probably. And the thing is though, like, people keep saying, like, obviously England benefits Scotland a lot, I think, so we are told, by the people down in Westminster. But England actually do depend. I'm not being actually biased here. England do depend on Scotland a lot for the oil because, particularly near where I live, in Aberdeen. I don't live in Aberdeen, but I live sort of near the East Coast. East Coast and Aberdeen specifically is where a lot of the UK's oil comes from, like off the North Sea, and it goes through Aberdeen. Aberdeen's a massive oil place, not as big as it was like a few years ago. Obviously, there was the whole oil crash thing that happened a couple of years ago, shortly after the Scottish referendum, which is why a lot of people were like, "Oh, good thing we didn't go independent because we would have been screwed because the oil would have fell through." But England do depend on Scotland a lot for oil, specifically through like Aberdeen and the East Coast. So there's that. If we left England, then we'd get all the oil to ourselves, but we can't depend on oil for the rest of our lives. That's the thing. Oil is running out. Like, we need to, like, what else would we use for money? Like, and how would the Queen work? We wouldn't have the Queen anymore. That fucks up tourism. Like, honestly, a lot of money is made in Scotland through tourism. I live in quite a touristy area with a lot of, like, royal stuff. To do with the royal family and stuff. We've got a lot of tourists that come through and like, oh, see the royal castles and shit like that. And obviously, that brings on in a lot of money from, like, tourists and stuff. But I don't know, man. It's so many things, like, things I couldn't even mention in this podcast. Everything will change in the next few years, probably. And to be honest, I hope that, I don't know. I've mentioned a lot of stuff. I could get a lot deeper into it, especially if I had someone else here. I feel like we could have a massive debate and it'd be amazing. There's like so many things that I haven't even talked about that like will be affected by this, and it's mad to think how it's just it's worrying. It's a scary time, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, what was I gonna say? But yeah, have you heard about that thing? In the UK government website, there's a place. Obviously, you can put up petitions to like get things like put into Parliament that you want to change, that the people of the UK want to change, and basically, I think if a petition gets 10,000 online signatures, then the Parliament has to like look at it or something, or acknowledge it or something. And if it gets 100,000 signatures, online signatures, then the Parliament has to consider it for debate. And there was as soon as the votes came in, like, oh, UK voted to, it was the overall vote to leave the EU. Then pretty soon after that, there was a petition put up on the UK government website because it was so close, and I think a lot of people didn't realise how much stuff would change if we did leave. I think a lot of people were like, oh shit, I want to vote again. Or a lot of people were like, shit, we need to get these people to change their minds. This is a bad idea. So obviously a petition went up on the UK website, the UK government website, to have a second EU referendum to do it all over again. Because, like I said, like I keep saying, we haven't actually left the EU yet. It's going to take a few years to sort everything out and actually properly leave. So we're still part of it, so we still have the chance to have another referendum, I guess. And like I said, it takes 100,000 signatures to get it to the. If it gets 100,000 signatures, then the Parliament by law have to consider it for debate, in the House of Commons or whatever. And I think it had 1 million signatures within 24 hours. I think it's actually, I'm going to check. Let's have a look. How do I find this? Second EU referendum. I spilled a drink over my keyboard. Now the arrow keys are completely screwed. Petitions. Oh my god. Holy crap. So I think after 24 hours, it had the petition. So it needed 100,000 signatures for it to be even considered for debate in Parliament. After 24 hours, it had about 1 million signatures. And I checked it like a few days ago. It had about 1.6 million. And now it has almost 4 million signatures. So I'm pretty sure Parliament must consider this for debate. I'm pretty sure they have 4 million signatures and it needs 100,000 for them to even acknowledge it. Like, bloody hell. That's, holy, 4 million. Jesus. So yeah, so Parliament have to at least consider this for debate to have a second one. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't have a conclusive debate yet. I'm at that point in my life where I'm like, I'm not sure what my opinions are on a lot of stuff, and like I keep changing opinions on stuff. So even though I'm still like, I still wanted to stay in the EU, I wanted to remain part of the UK a few years ago. Now I'm not so sure if it'd be better for Scotland to leave or to go, because I don't know if Scotland, how well we do on our own, to be honest. If we're still part of the EU, but then we'd end up like Greece or something. We'd be a failing economy once the oil fell through. Like, think of how many people are in England. Like, this doesn't. I don't think this affects the voting too much because it's down to like constituencies. So like population doesn't affect the voting thing. But England, so the UK has like 60, 70 million. Hang on, I'm gonna check this. Population of the UK. Come on. 64 million people as of 2013, technically. So a few years ago, but about 64 million people in the UK. I think 64 million people. So 64 million in the UK. Keep that in mind. You probably know this already. 64 million people in the UK. 53 million of them are English. 64 million people in the UK. 53 million of them are English. 5 million of them are Scotland. Scotland actually has 5 million people in it. There's more people in London than there are in the entire Scotland. And Wales is even less, and Northern Ireland is even less. So, obviously, England is... Look at this. Look, I type in population of England. There's a little Wikipedia entry on Google. England, the birthplace of Shakespeare and the Beatles, is a country of the British Isles bordering Scotland and Wales. The capital of London is the River Thames, the home of the Parliament, 11th century Tower of London. It's very much good, loads of fluff. But yeah, so there's a lot of people in England. England is much more densely populated. England makes up like most of the UK in terms of pure population, which of course, like I said, I don't think it actually affects the voting that much because it's down to like constituencies and like areas, and it's so it doesn't actually affect the voting, but still, I don't know, why did I say population? Why was I talking about that? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, 4 million people have signed the petition. That's like 1 million off the entire population. Scotland is a tiny country, really. Like, the thing is, if we left, we were talking about this in one of my classes the other day. If Scotland were to leave the UK, like currently the UK and Britain is like it's a pretty big country, like not in terms of size and even in terms of population, it's not massive, like not on the size of the United States or China. It's not a world superpower, but it's still quite a big world power. It's a very influential country. Like, I'm not just being biased right now. This is just a fact. It has like one of the biggest markets in the world, one of the most developed, highest GDP type stuff. It's a pretty influential country throughout the world it's like it's a developed Western country, isn't it, the UK, and it's quite influential in Europe and the world, just because it's, I don't know, just because it's Britain. But if Scotland were to leave, we'd be much more like a Scandinavian country, like a Nordic Scandinavian. We'd be more like Norway or Sweden or Denmark. We'd have 5 million people. We wouldn't be like if World War III was to attack. Obviously, America is the first target for, like, the enemy, the bad guys or whatever, which is, there's no real bad guys in the world, but they would attack America first, obviously. Then probably, like, Britain and other places in Europe. Because, like, England or UK and US are very similar in a lot of ways. We're very different in a lot of ways, but we're quite similar societies. But yeah, the UK itself is, like, quite a big target for like terrorists and stuff. We're like quite a big influential country, whereas if Scotland were to leave, we wouldn't be a big target. Like, we'd be a small 5 million population. We wouldn't be that influential as we'd still be like influential, but not nearly as much as the UK is. And oh my gosh, that was horrific. I think this is my body's way of telling me to stop making videos or stop doing the podcast because this is bad. But yeah, if Scotland were to leave, we'd be a much smaller country. England would still be quite a big country. Thing is though, if England were to be attacked by nukes, then Scotland would be affected as well because the UK is such a small place. Like if you were to hit like the north of England, you would hit like the central belt and the southern part of Scotland. So we'd still be very close proximity. But another thing is if England and Wales stayed like. If Scotland got independent and we remained part of the EU, and England still left the EU, we'd be... Think of how the borders would fucking change. Like, right now, because England and Scotland are technically the UK, we're the same country, there's, like, no border control. There's literally... Because we're the same country, so it's just, like, there's, like, a sign that says, welcome to England. And it's like, yay, we're in England, yeah. And there's one that says Scotland, yay, we're in Scotland, yay. And... I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. Oh, gosh. I've spent, like... over half this podcast talking about this whole EU thing. I'm sorry. Hopefully you found it interesting. But yeah, think of the border control. Not only would we be separate countries, like if we were still in the EU together, but Scotland was independent, then there would still be border control, but not nearly as much. But if we'd be because of the whole EU travel thing, if Scotland were in the EU, England was not in the EU, and we were actually separate countries, we weren't the UK anymore, think of how mad the borders would be then. Like, it'd be so much, you couldn't just drive down to England, just go, drive down to Carlisle for an evening, and then continue driving down to London. The borders it'd be crazy to think. Like, I've gone on holiday, we've driven down to England, like, quite a few times for, like, holidays in my life, and there's no, you just keep driving. It's just a sign that says welcome to England because we're the same country technically. But if we were to leave the EU and we were going to be independent from the UK, that'd be crazy. Think that, like, not that it would be really strict borders and be like, no, get the fuck out. It would just be like crazy to have like actual border control in the border between Scotland and England. It's crazy to think that hasn't. It's mad that the UK probably won't be a thing anymore in 100 years. It's crazy, man. It's crazy how that could happen in my lifetime. But yeah, so yeah, that's been the EU podcast, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it. Here in this podcast, we talk about politics all the time. Yeah, so that's been the 4th podcast. I'm going to stop talking now because I can feel myself going mad with I'm even more tired now. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I've explained a bit of why I was away for a week. Cross between illness and a bit of demotivation and lack of confidence. We've spent most of the time talking about this whole EU thing, which I did not want to do. I wanted to just mention it briefly and move on to other stuff, even though I don't really have any other interesting topics. But yeah, I can rant. I'm very good at ranting on topics that I'm interested in, or that I'm passionate about, or both. So yeah, that's kind of what happens. Like, I do rant. Like, Kazelix, you go on tangents, but I just rant. I just rant and rant. I go on tangents as well, but I think from watching, I've spoken about this guy before, Antastic. He's a fantastic YouTuber. He actually might be starting a YouTube. Actually, that's one thing I wanted to talk about. Yes, he has a new channel. He's got like, oh gosh, can I be bothered to speak about this? I should end this bloody podcast. I'll leave a link to his actual channels or his old channels. Some of his videos, like, they're not edited or anything. They're not special, but they're so funny. Please watch him. Please watch Fantastic. He's such a fantastic guy. He might be coming back to YouTube, possibly. He posts on Facebook. I don't know, but I'm going a bit mad with happiness because I miss him so much. And he has a new channel. It's this weird anime thing that he's making. If you've ever seen anime or One Piece, it's really weird. If you don't watch anime, don't expect to understand what the hell's going on. But it's just, so I didn't understand. I don't watch anime myself or anything like that, but just go watch it because some of it's actually genuinely funny. Some of it's like, there's some genuinely funny moments in this new channel he has. It's called like this anime channel or whatever. You won't understand what's going on, but some of it's genuinely funny. I'm not shitting you right now. Some of it I genuinely laughed. And if you don't understand anime, if you never watched anime, it'll be really weird and you'll be like, what the fuck is this? I was like that as well. But honestly, please go support that channel any way you can. I'll leave a link to all Fantastic's things in the description because I love him so much. To be honest, he's like my favorite YouTuber of all time. And any support, he's not a big YouTuber either. He's got like 20-something thousand subs on his main channel, and like a few thousand on his other second channel, and like a few hundred I think on this new channel he has. But yeah, sorry, that's a mad tangent. I should have mentioned that at the beginning, to be honest. But yeah, if you're still watching at this point, please go check out Fantastic because I love him so much. And yeah, I think we are done. But yeah, part of the reason why I rant so much is because of him. Like, he goes on a lot of rants during his videos, and particularly on some of his second channel videos, especially the ones he did years ago with his brother, like back in 2013. Oh man, that was like the glory days of Fantastic. Those were so fun. Oh gosh, I'm gonna go watch Fantastic after this. Anyway, I'm so tired. Oh gosh, I feel like I haven't taken a breath that entire podcast. My coffee is now incredibly cold. My feet are getting so cold. Hang on, I need slippers. Where are my slippers? I've left them downstairs. My feet are so cold. So cold. I'm sorry, I'm showing you my leg again. That's horrific. I'm wearing shorts, by the way. I'm not naked. That would be weird. But yeah, I'm gonna sit like this. I don't know where this sudden confidence. I say I lack confidence to do videos. I'm just myself in these videos. I'm much more confident than I was like a few years ago, just in general, in like general life. I'm a much more confident person. Even though I'm still quite shy and like stuff like that, but I don't know. It's kind of weird to think how different I am now. Anyway. Look at rant. Kazelix, Max, you may be the king of tangents. I'm the king of rants right now, dude. Until Fantastic comes back to YouTube, but then I will be the the prince of rants, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. The audio quality's probably gone back, so I'm not sitting near enough that. Anyway, I need to end this. I'm so sorry. So that podcast has been very, very ranty, as every single video of mine ever seems to be. Hopefully you were, I don't know, if you're not interested in the whole politics thing, I'm sorry. I'm genuine, it's a thing that I'm quite interested in, I quite like talking about with people, I quite like debating about with people, so I might got my leg crossed here if you're wondering. But yeah, something that I'm quite interested in. If you're not interested in it, then sorry for boring you. Sorry for wasting your time, to be honest, but hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that was vaguely interesting for you. And yeah, so that's my first video of like a week and a bit. That's shit. But yeah, over summer, we have summer to make videos, my friends, all summer, even though when I seem to make even less videos when I have loads of time, just because it sparks me to be even more lazy. It's a weird thing. I need to stop talking. I'm sorry. Thank you for watching my 4th podcast, everyone. I really enjoy making these podcasts, actually. It's quite fun. Quite enjoyable to actually have a video where I'm supposed to rant to the extent that I do rant, but I have a bit of an excuse to rant. It's quite nice. Look, you can see outside there. You can see a tree. Wait. What am I doing? I need to end this. I need to end. Okay. Well, that's been a very interesting Tuesday evening for me. I'm gonna have to go back to school tomorrow and work. So, yeah. I watched a documentary on PTSD. It was a really depressing documentary. We were watching a documentary on PTSD. It was really depressing. Really depressing. So yeah, thankfully I don't have to deal with stuff like that. I whine and complain a lot, but I don't have any real problems, to be honest. Other than what I'm gonna do when I leave school. I really have no idea. So other than that, I might have to sponge off my parents for a few years because I have no idea what I want to do. Other than that, my life's pretty nothing to complain about. Shut the fuck up. I need to shut the fuck up. I'm not even like pretending right now. I want to keep talking. But yeah, I don't have any other topics really to talk about. It's an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. So yeah, we need to end. So thank you very, very, very much for watching my 4th podcast, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hopefully, if you didn't find that the whole EU politics topic interesting, I'm sorry. Hopefully next time I'll have some more interesting stuff. Maybe start talking about the prefect stuff again. I think a couple of you were vaguely entertained by my high-vis jacket story. And yeah, I've got a few more stories about that. Maybe we couldn't talk about in the next podcast. So, thank you very, very much for watching that, guys. Yeah, hopefully I see you in my next video, which will probably be a gaming video of some description. Maybe Battlefield or Rocket League or COD or something like that. And yeah, so, thank you for what... Is that it? After ranting so much and talking so much, I feel like I should end it on a bit of a more less anticlimactic note. But yeah, that's been that. So, thank you very, very, very much for watching, everyone. I genuinely appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't, then I'm sorry. Then if the topic didn't interest you, but you know, it's fine. We can all, you know, next video will be better. Maybe if you didn't like it, maybe you liked it. I don't know. You leave a comment. Oh gosh. Thank you very, very much for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye bye for now. I always say in my videos, oh, this video was way too ranty. I'm sorry for ranting so much, but this one, that was just another level. Jesus, I'm getting worse.